Every single night you flick a switch and light fills the room. You do it 100 times a week without thinking, but someone had to invent that. Someone had to sit in the dark and decide there has to be a better way. That person, or rather those people, changed everything. But here's what school didn't tell you. The story of who really invented the light bulb is messy and full of stolen credit. Today we find out who actually made that. To understand the light bulb, you have to understand just how bad the alternative was. Gas lamps. They smelled, they flickered, they set things on fire. And before gas, candles, and whale oil. So by the 1800s, scientists across the world were desperately trying to find a better way to make light. And this is where it gets interesting, because it wasn't one genius in one room. Meet Joseph Swan, an English chemist born in 1828 in a small town called Sunderland. Swan became obsessed with one problem. How do you create light without fire? The basic idea was simple. Run electricity through a thin wire inside a glass bulb. The wire glows. You get light. Simple idea. Brutally hard in practice. The wire kept burning out in seconds. You needed a near-perfect vacuum inside the bulb, technology that barely existed. Swan worked on this problem for over 20 years. And in 1878, finally, he demonstrated a working electric light bulb to a packed audience in Newcastle. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, a 31-year-old inventor in New Jersey was reading the newspapers. That inventor was Thomas Edison, already famous for the phonograph, already wealthy, already very ambitious. Edison heard that Swan had cracked light. And Edison had one advantage Swan didn't: money, lots of it, and a team of 30 researchers. In October 1879, a full year after Swan's public demonstration, Edison announced his own working light bulb. The newspapers went wild. Edison invents the light bulb. His name was everywhere. And back in England, Joseph Swan read those same headlines. Swan was not happy. He had demonstrated a working bulb a year earlier. He had patents. He had proof. Edison moved into the British market and sued Swan, claiming patent infringement. But Edison's lawyers quickly realized Swan could prove his prior work. Rather than risk losing in court, Edison's side backed down. Instead of fighting, they merged. He didn't fight Swan, he joined him. In 1883, they formed a joint company called Edison. But here's what happened over the next century. Edison was American. His publicity machine was unstoppable. Swan's name faded. Edison's became legend. But there's one more person in this story that almost nobody has heard of. Lewis Howard Latimer, born in 1848, the son of escaped slaves. Latimer was a self-taught engineer and draftsman who worked first for Alexander Graham Bell, helping to draw the patent diagrams for the telephone. He then moved to work for Hiram Maxim, one of Edison's fiercest rivals, and solved the single biggest problem that was stopping light bulbs from being practical. His work was so impressive that Edison later hired him away from the competition. The original filaments burned out in hours. Latimer invented a process to make a carbon filament that lasted for weeks. Without Latimer's carbon filament, the light bulb stays a laboratory curiosity. It never becomes a product. Latimer also supervised the installation of electric lighting in New York, Philadelphia, Montreal, and London. He wrote an important book explaining how electric lighting works. So why isn't Latimer's name everywhere? Same reason as a Swan. History remembers the man with the best publicity team. Now, here's the question everyone asks. Did Edison actually steal the idea? The honest answer is no, not exactly. Swan had the concept first, but Edison's version was more practical. Edison also invented the entire electrical system around it. Inventing the bulb without inventing the system to power it is like inventing a car with no roads and no petrol. Edison built the roads. Edison built the petrol stations. And that is why his name is on everything. By 1900, electric light was spreading across the world. Cities that had been dark for all of human history began to glow. Night stopped being a barrier. Factories could run after dark. Shops could stay open longer. People could read after sunset. The entire rhythm of human life changed. We stopped being controlled by the sun. Crime, which thrived in dark streets, started to fall as electric lighting spread. And the modern economy, built on night shifts, 24-hour logistics, global supply chains, simply could not exist without it. So who invented the light bulb? Swan thought of it first and proved it worked. Latimer made it last long enough to actually use, and Edison built the system that brought it into every home on Earth. All three of them made that. History gave one man the credit. But now you know the full story. If this made you stop and think, subscribe, because next week we ask, who invented the internet? Spoiler, it wasn't one person. And the real story is even stranger. See you then.